Welcome to the tour through the PLD lab. I'm now going to show you the 3 process chambers we have installed here that are fed by the coherent complex laser working at 284 nanometers that was bought in December 2017. Here we see the rack with the pump and motorization control for the first chamber, and here also installed the control units and power supply for the attenuation system. When we move forward, we see here the laser that's feeding through this box here into the first chamber that is capsuled by this shutter here from the load lock. Here in the foreground you have the energy detection, and here we have a target holder. It's operated that it's kind of waved through the beam from the left to the right, and you can install here several targets that can be rastered through. So here we have the internal side of the chamber, that there was also the oven that can heat up your substrates, and here in the foreground you have the motorization of the target holder, and it's not so clear here. You have here the system for evaporating gases or water or alcohol. So when we continue, we have here the laser system that is fed here through this yellow pipe, and here you have an additional rack where the control units for the interlock system and the pumps and the water supply to the turbo pumps, the pump control units themselves, and here for the motorization are stored. Additionally, we have here an oscilloscope where we can monitor the laser pulses. When we continue moving, we have here the computer that is controlling all the motorization. Here's some additional control boxes for the target and the substrate rotation in the chamber 3. You see here in that metallic box, or you don't see, but here it is the mirror that's guiding the laser beam to chamber number 2 that is behind this aluminum lid here at the moment. And when we move on a little, here you see the old chamber 2. Now we move the aluminum lid of chamber 1 a little, and here when we open up that box, there is the lens installed that is focusing here the laser beam coming from the right. Here's the entrance window of chamber 3 that's focusing the laser beam onto the target. You see that we can rotate the lens, and we also can adjust the focal length automatically. This entrance window is a little away from the actual laser target interaction side that's in the chamber, and here in the middle between the target interaction and the entrance window, we have here stored in this area here an additional protection window that's moved upwards and downwards to protect the actual entrance window from getting covered during the PLD process. And this additional window here you can exchange by opening this lid quite easily. So here we come to the deposition chamber number 3. You have here the load lock that's also encapsulated here by a shutter from the main chamber. And now let's have a look into that main chamber here. We have here the 3 target positions. You only see 1.5. So here you have this target. There's a rotating motor. At the moment it's the laser beam coming from the right. It's not phasing the laser beam, but it will be rotated into the laser beam automatically. And here in the background you see a substrate holder with a substrate equipped. And behind those covers here there is the rate monitor. Perhaps you see it a little here in the background. There the opening of the rate monitor where this oscillation of the quartz takes place. So, and if we now move on, we see here in the load log the system where you can store several substrates and also targets here on this square-shaped holders. And yeah, you have the possibility of inserting several targets and substrate at a time. At this position here, you can collect the photons with an energy monitor. You have to install this pipe here. Here you see the energy monitor, and you can measure it instantaneously, or not during the PLD process, since then you have the target in the direct beam, but you can move out the target, and during your layer deposition you can adjust the energy density. Here at the right hand side, let's move perhaps a little backwards. Here this black block, there the rate monitor is installed, so you have here 3 axes of moving it in. Here on this axis you have the substrate sitting, and it can also be rotated, of course. The next thing that's shown here is the old deposition chamber number 2. But yeah, this is under construction, as I explained, and now we open here this aluminum box, and we see here the mirror that can be translated directly into the beam path to then deflect the incoming beam to chamber number 2. At the moment, this whole system is under construction, as I just explained, so many parts, also the motorization of the other chambers are not installed, but this will be returned before you are coming to Göttingen, of course. Here, from some kind of a bird perspective, you see here the position of chamber 2, chamber 3 and chamber 1 here in the background, and what's here in the middle, this crane is for lifting the lids of the chambers, since yeah, they are a little heavy. Apart from the monitors here that are connected to the PC that's controlling the whole PLD system, you find the gas bottles here contained in this special storage. And what's not shown is here on the very right side, there is another desk where you can apply the substrates to the substrate holders, or you can glue the target onto the target holders as well, of course. So with this, I'd like to end the digital tour through the PLD lab, and I'm happy to